Join Carol Davies on Global Voice Radio, the host of Only the Best for You. Be a change maker and unlock the secret to your best life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Global Voice Radio show, Only the Best for You. My name is Carol Davies of the Passion Motivator Coaching Company. I'm so pleased to share with you the best information and speakers about how you can be a change maker to make the world and yourself the best you can be. Today, I'm reporting to you on a topic that has long intrigued me. How can we supercharge ourselves for success through self-motivation? Our program today is called How Can You Become Self-Motivated? All of us have dreams of a better life, but somewhere along our journey, these dreams can get buried. When the chaos of everyday life takes over, we may even begin to believe that we're not capable of achieving our goals. Nothing could be further from the truth. You can use the power of your mind to motivate yourself to pursue your goals to fulfillment, regardless of the challenges life throws your way. It will also give you expert advice on staying motivated throughout your life. Many useful techniques you can follow are based on those taught by Tony Robbins, who rose from an undistinguished background to become one of the most successful self-help and inspirational authors in the world. He tells a story that one day he was sitting aimlessly in a cheap cafeteria, overweight and jobless, and a year later he was living the life of his dreams. The day he was sitting in that cafeteria, he saw a little boy treat his mother to lunch in the cafeteria. He didn't have much money. Suddenly, Tony had a light bulb idea. He didn't have much money himself, but he gave all that he had to the little boy who needed it more. And then suddenly, to his great surprise, money and job opportunities started coming his way. Now, how could that have happened? If you think you have to wait until you're going to have something, you're never going to have something of any size or scope. There's something inside the human psyche that when you do what's right and you get out of yourself, there's something that'll click for you. It's like the universe gets your back and says, okay, now you have trusted and it's time for you. And in the case of Tony Robbins, he realized that when you have nothing is when you need to get something. So he decided then to go after his dreams because this little boy who was so caring and kind for his mother just was like a beacon to him that it is really very simple. You have to get determined to make your own life a success on your own terms. That is a wonderful start to self-motivation. So, what is self-motivation? In its simplest form, it's the force that drives you to do things. People with self-motivation can find a reason and strength to complete a task, even when it's challenging, without giving up or needing another to encourage them. It's easy to set a goal. We do it all the time. Staying motivated to achieve those goals, well, that's a different story. Take New Year's resolutions, for example. While 93% of people set them, only 8% of people actually find the inner drive to follow through. Now, isn't that an amazing statistic? 93% of people can set a resolution at New Year's, and only 8% follow through. Really makes you think, doesn't it? Motivation is a better predictor of career success than intelligence, ability, or salary. So we'd better get it right for ourselves. I found that willpower is a big determinant of long-term success. The good news is that, contrary to popular belief, self-motivation can be changed, and it isn't some innate God-given trait. Research shows that there are some proven ways you can become self-motivated, even when the going gets tough. I talk about this later in the show. The other day, I was asked by a client. She asked, "It's hard for me to stay motivated and consistently make progress toward my goals. How do I get motivated and stay motivated?" That's a good question, because when we are motivated, we stay consistent and we make progress. We'll stay up late, read all the books, put in the extra work, develop the skills, create the habits, and do all the little things necessary to realize our goal. It's that simple. That got me to thinking about times when I was driven like an obsessive maniac to accomplish a goal, and the times when I was unmotivated and failed. After thinking about many of my successes and non-successes, I've come to the conclusion that there's 4 fundamental to getting motivated and staying motivated. When we understand and implement these fundamentals, we create unstoppable motivation and achieve our goal. Motivation starts with a choice. Can you remember when you relied on someone at work or in your life to help you on important projects, and suddenly that person wasn't there anymore to watch your back or provide an external source of support or belief in you? I sure could remember that. I have a wonderful twin sister. She was always there for me for most of my life, through school and early adulthood. I got my first full-time job and I had to move to a city quite far away. Suddenly, my main source of support and motivation was no longer there when I needed her. This was a natural stage in my life, but I did not understand that at the time. It was a huge shock. So what was I going to do? We've all had moments like these, and we're forced to choose one of 2 options. One, we can wallow in our self-pity and become a victim to our life circumstances. Or 2, we can use these moments to motivate ourselves and become something else. In the case of me suddenly being in a new work environment far away from my natural support system, I had to learn to motivate myself. It wasn't easy, and I made many mistakes. But guess what? I succeeded, and I felt so proud of myself. Staying motivated is not something that happens naturally all the time. Rather, we need to be intentional about our behaviors to be sure we're staying on the right path. Unfortunately, people often take the wrong direction in finding motivation. They blindly tie it to huge goals that are unattainable and use all of their energy to attempt to power through it all and get it done. In reality, a lot of this leads to burnout and waning willpower. I've seen it time and again in entrepreneur groups that I join. They'll be motivated by some huge desire, like making $1 million in revenue, yet they do nothing to fan their inner flame in the meantime. For instance, let's say that your goal is to open a store. Likely, you will only feel a sense of accomplishment when that store actually opens, and then burn the midnight oil and wear yourself out trying to get there. excuse me, but this could take years and be way too difficult. Instead, start by being specific and making it a challenge. According to the American Psychological Association, people who set goals that are both specific and challenging are 90% more likely to achieve what they've set their mind to. When we set goals that are broad and general, our motivation is lessened since we don't have realistic and measurable milestones to check off along the way. For instance, if you want to increase your sales and leave the goal at just that, you could technically accomplish it with one more sale, or be left in permanent limbo as your sales increase more. Goals are dreams with deadlines. Here's a more motivating and achievable example of what I just said above. You could say, I will increase sales by 5% in the next 6 months by engaging with clients on a weekly basis and by tracking my progress on a monthly basis. Being realistic with what you can achieve in a given amount of time is crucial to your success and for your morale and motivation levels. While it is important to aim high, it is equally as important to encourage yourself by hitting goals along the way. Each time we hit one of these goals, a burst of dopamine is released. This allows us to train our brain to crave achievement and push towards the next item on our list. Another key here is that you don't want yourself to feel scared of setting challenging goals and not reaching them. Setting those type of challenging goals is a major ingredient for success, even if you miss a lot of them. That's why I encourage what I call reach goals, which hit the level between realistic and slightly out there. That changes the paradigm of missing goals because you didn't fail, you simply reached higher than you did before. So what is a reach goal? It's any type of goal that can't be reached without extraordinary effort. It's a goal that you set knowing you may try your hardest and still not quite make it. The difference between an ordinary goal and a reach goal is huge. An ordinary goal might be to say, I want to write more this year. But with a reach goal, you'd say something bigger. I want to write 1,000 words a day this year. The goal is both concrete and ambitious. With a reach goal, you set the bar well beyond your ordinary limits, and then find out how far you can actually go. Now, you have to own your motivation. Having control and ownership of what we are doing makes us more motivated to actually do it. Gaining autonomy over your work and allowing your team or others at work to do the same can create a vibrantly productive environment. Now, here's an interesting story. Psychology Today explained how this phenomenon even showed up in the form of a Betty Crocker box in the 1950s. During this time, General Mills launched a Betty Crocker brand of instant cake. All you had to do was add water. Easy peasy. Now, to their surprise, the launch failed miserably. Now, how could that be? After bringing in a team of psychologists, they discovered that their new instant cakes were not selling because women felt a lack of ownership in the process. They preferred taking a few extra steps to feel like they were contributing to the success of the project, or the cake in this case. So what did General Mills do? They added an egg. Yes, by simply adding an egg and lengthening the process, the sales of the instant cake soared. So how can we implement this type of success with our teams or in the office. In your next staff meeting, or ask a manager, try having each member report on what they've been working on and what they achieved in the last few weeks. You may quickly start to notice that when people are given a chance to brag on what they are working on, they will work harder for a successful result. Now, it's also important to celebrate the little wins. Like most entrepreneurs, you probably have major or even over-the-top long-term goals that you're tackling. But as you probably know, these huge aspirations won't get accomplished overnight. That's why you should find the time to make a symbolic high five to yourself every day, instead of waiting to reward yourself solely at the finish line. As a tech company co-founder Frank Gruber put it, this is a journey, a hard one, and the only way to make it sustainable and bearable is if you actually acknowledge your small successes along the way. Granted, sometimes it might be hard to see something as a win when you hate doing it, like doing a boring Excel file. In these cases, it's great to look at any broader impacts it might have, such as its ability to help your firm with an exciting mission, or to focus on the fact that once you're done with it, you can move on to bigger and better things, if it's necessary. For example, when I have to do less than ideal paperwork for my business, I celebrate and focus on my mission to empower myself by growing financially. By celebrating these tiny wins, you'll find a much needed daily dose of motivation. And you also have to look at reaping the rewards that you'll get by self-motivating yourself. Here's a quote by Will Curran, president of Endless Entertainment. He said, "By fighting the small battles, I get joy in overcoming obstacles, and by celebrating after a small win. This includes rewarding myself for a job well done. You can get overwhelmed by focusing too much on the big picture." Just because we are all grown up now doesn't mean that we no longer react positively to rewards. The next time you meet a goal or milestone, treat yourself to something you've been eyeing or haven't had the strength to do for yourself without an excuse. Motivation expert Bob Nelson says, "You get what you reward," and the same goes for you and people at work. Studies show that when employees are continuously rewarded, they are more likely to feel valued, stay with the company, invest in the company, and feel committed to the company. While raises and promotions do have their time and place, it's the tiny ones that are necessary too, and they can be just as rewarding. So take the time to say thank you. And if you run a company, cater lunch. Let people out or leave early on a Friday. Have a dress down business code. Wear your blue jeans. Don't forget to treat yourself and others. Now, also be accountable. One crucial step I take is peer-to-peer accountability. Look for another business owner in the same or totally different profession that you can talk to on a weekly or daily basis, if possible, to discuss ideas, challenges, and triumphs. This is a great way to keep both parties accountable. An important part of goal setting and staying motivated is holding yourself accountable. Research shows that after setting a specific goal, 70% of individuals who sent a weekly update to a friend were successful in meeting their achievements, met either halfway or fully, compared to the other 30% that did not. I found that mentors can be worth their weight in gold for not only providing that much needed accountability, but also for suggesting next steps or viewpoints on what to do if these goals aren't met. They've already been in your shoes after all. Think about motivation as a mindset. The goal or task that you are working towards doesn't change, but the way you see it and think about it does. If you need to, reframe the scope to something manageable. Find a way to manage it yourself, even if it was delegated. Hold yourself accountable and remember to treat yourself when you achieve it. Self-motivated people are the people who get it done in the world. They're also the kind of people companies want to hire. So, what are the traits of a self-motivated person, and how can you become one? Here are 6 easy tips. 1, know yourself. Sometimes we get too busy studying other people and get stuck trying to be someone we're not. Take time to study yourself. What are you great at? What challenges you? How can you use your positive traits to your advantage in your career? How can you improve in the areas you're challenged in? 2, think independently. Independent and outside-the-box thinking can be incredibly valuable in the workplace. Sometimes doing things as they've always been done doesn't work when companies want to stay ahead of the curve. Many companies will welcome fresh ideas that can help revive their operation. 3, have a clear direction. Know where you're going and why. Of course you're busy, but try to take a moment each day to pause and assess the direction you're going in. Important questions to ask yourself regularly are, how effective am I? Is this routine working? How can I be better or quicker? 4, have faith. Learn to see beyond today. If you never see beyond today, you will never accomplish what you want tomorrow. Faith takes practice, and you can't have faith unless you give faith a chance. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase." So take that first step. 5, live purposefully. Self-motivated people plan out each day with purpose. They carefully decide who they spend time with and what they spend time doing. Every choice affects your future, and time is precious. Make sure each moment and each interaction in your life has purpose. 6, let it go. You will always encounter challenges and challenging people. Try to let them go. Don't give in to drama or negativity, and don't let any distractions get in the way of your goals. Also remember to celebrate those tiny wins each day. You'll find a much needed daily dose of motivation. I found that the difference between successful and non-successful people is that people who are successful love the journey to success as much as they want to succeed, whereas those who are only interested in the end result and hate the process of success generally fail in the process. I truly hope that you will find some great takeaways from my musings today. If you want further information or want to talk about self-motivation and have more ideas with me, contact me through my website, www.thepassionmotivator.com, or by email at coachcaroldavies@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Remember, you can change your life at any time and become the success you want to be. Bye now.
Tune in every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern for Only the Best for You with Carol Davies on Global Voice Radio.